Welcome into Deep Waters here on ProBox TV. We take a deep dive into all things boxing. Of course, the news right now, Shakur Stevenson, not just looking good in his last fight, not just looking technical, but sealing free agency, rejecting a big offer from Top Rank. Jimmy Smith, Chris Algieri in studio, joined via Zoom by Paulie Malignaggi and ESPN boxing analyst Timothy Bradley. Chris, you and I were discussing it off air. It isn't the technique. It isn't the ability. It isn't the opponents. It isn't anything like that. You talked about the PR problem Shakur Stevenson has. He turned down $15 million from Top Rank. Is that the right thing to do when fans are leaving your fights? Tell me all about it.
You know, you said you look good doing it. Depends when you ask. You ask me, yeah, he looked good. He's very good. He's
those were your words. He looked very good. Yes.
He completely shut down Artem, and Artem is a good fighter. He has a big amateur background as well, physically strong guy. Pushed Frank Martin to the limit. Had nothing for Shakur. And Shakur actually even at times did walk him down, hurt him a few times. He's just not a finisher. He's not a knockout guy. And when you mentioned the PR, that's what we're talking about off air. I was like, yeah, he's got a PR problem. His PR problem is that he's his own PR, and he tells everyone he's going to knock people out. That's not you, man. Just go out there and be the brilliant boxer that you are and completely disarm all these guys. I mentioned Pernell Whitaker being pound-for-pound champ for a number of years. Listen, he didn't knock anybody out. He didn't tell everybody, and he didn't say he was knocking anybody out. He's like, yeah, I'm going to beat you up and make you look bad. Sure, okay, be that
Can't
guy.
touch me.
Be that guy. You're not going to touch me. You're not going to hurt me. You're not going to make my nose bleed. You're barely going to make me break a sweat. So I think if Shakur goes out there like that and changes this narrative that he's going to go out there and knock so-and-so out and just be a boxer, I think that the fan base would be it would come around a little better. At this point, you see all these people, man. They're calling him snooze this, snooze that. I can't stay up. It's a boring fight. A boxing purist like me, I like what I'm seeing from him. He's phenomenal. He doesn't get touched. But, you know, everyone else, people who are looking for entertainment value, people who are looking for someone who's going to beat this guy's ass, well, they're going to be left longing.
Paulie, what's your thought on that idea that it's really a PR thing, that plenty of fighters, Floyd Mayweather, we talked about Sweet Pea Whitaker, all these fighters who weren't necessarily, Bernard Hopkins, who were more technicians than punchers, who did have pay-per-view success. Is he just marketing himself incorrectly? What's your thought on it?
First of all, this is more of an era of pay-per-view than it was in the past. I mean, now it's like a fighter has to be on pay-per-view no matter who he fights. Once a guy's on pay-per-view, I mean, we watched Gervonta Davis against Alex Garcia on pay-per-view, which was, to me, was a joke, So it's not like, for me, the pay-per-view model is a bit manipulated today. Back in the day, even pay-per-view stars, if they lowered their level of opposition, they would fight on regular HBO or Showtime at that time. Now it's like once you're on pay-per-view, you could be fighting the guy who makes you food at the kitchen, and you still got to be on pay-per-view, even if you diminish your level of opposition. So I'm not really crazy about that. But what I'll tell you is this. Whitaker did have that style where he didn't have a lot of knockouts, but he had a bit of swag to him as well. I don't know if that was able to maybe make him a bit more marketable, but I'll tell you what the most important thing is. The most important thing is not even Shakur's fault. The most important thing is in Whitaker's time, guys fought each other. So therefore, Whitaker was able to fight these guys, beat them, and then whether you thought he was boring or not didn't matter anymore because he was beating your favorite fighter with swagger. That's what he was doing. So therefore, now he didn't have a problem. No matter how, nobody's going to complain about how boring he was. I remember certain people, even in Whitaker's time, like, I find Whitaker to be boring. Yeah, but he's beating your favorite fighter. Today, the problem in boxing is your favorite fighter, everybody wants to be a pay-per-view star, including your favorite fighter, and they want to maintain that pay-per-view status, including your favorite fighter, but they don't want to fight pay-per-view opponents, including your favorite fighter. So the problem is, now you got a guy like Shakur Stevenson who has to take on pretty good fighters, but you got to compare his opposition to the opposition, how they're doing against other top fighters, because the top fighters don't want to fight him. And Chris, you made a great point, champ. You made how Hartunian, fought Martin pretty well, but against Shakur, and this is a Shakur who was actually experimenting and trying to be aggressive. Yeah. It didn't look great because Shakur is not naturally that kind of fighter.
And Hartunian, who had more time to train, he took the Martin fight on short notice. He had more time to train.
And I'll tell you, that's a great point, too. But I'll tell you, even when Shakur was trying to hold his ground, he made the effort. You could see he made the effort to hold his ground more. It almost looked awkward because at times he's smothering his punches. It's not the way he fights. Yet he did it for you because you're complaining that he can't fight like that, that he doesn't do it like that. He did it for you. And what? Now, okay, he's still boring. People are saying, oh, people will leave going for the exits. Guys, he was up 11 rounds to 0 with 1 round left. You already know how Shakur Stevenson's fight's going to end. He's going to win the 12th round, too, and then he's going to win on points. So at the end of 11 rounds, his fan base is going to say, you know what? Let's head for the exits. We're in Newark where there's no parking and getting out of there is traffic hell. So, you know, so he's like, the people are like, all right, you know what? Let's head for the exits early. Shakur got this one locked in. It's not a slap in his face. He dominated the fight and there's no drama in that fight. Of course, will that bore you? Maybe it'll bore you. I don't know, but he'll do the same thing to your favorite fighter is what I'm saying. But today, your favorite fighter today isn't your favorite fighter in the 90s, when your favorite fighter in the 90s would have taken on Shakur Stevenson and seen what he had for him. Your favorite fighter today won't even mention Shakur Stevenson's name.
Tim, you were there. You were calling this fight. You talk about the, as Paulie said, if people headed for the exits. Yeah, but it was a done deal by round 10, 11. What were your thoughts on that energy level and his ability to attract, let's say, a Gervonta Davis into a mega fight? What do you think his prospects are?
Look, man, I would like to go back to the original question. First of all, should he have took that $15 million deal? Absolutely. He should have took that $50 million deal. No doubt about it. You know, you got to think about this. It's a minimum, $3 million minimum. Doesn't matter who he faces, right? If he faces Tank Davis, of course, he's going to make more money. You know, if he faces Lomachenko, of course, he's going to make more money. But that's a baseline price right there. And let's talk about now. Let me go to the next question you just asked. You know, people were leaving the arena, and I hear you, Paulie. Yes, he was up 11 rounds to 0. I get it. But if he was going to get that knockout, people were going to have been waiting there to see it unfold. He missed that opportunity. And the reason why he missed that opportunity, because he was arguing with his grandfather inside the corner. His grandfather was telling him, hey, I need you to step on the gas, and you need to step on it now. And it probably had a lot to do with the Foster fight. You know, and I was saying it during the broadcast, like, I don't know who's going to be the judges. Maybe it's the same judges that were in the Foster fight, because Foster clearly won the fight, in my opinion. However, these first 3 rounds, Shakur didn't do anything. He might have lost the first 3 rounds because he just wasn't inactive. He was inactive. Wasn't no activity coming from him. So, you know, his grandfather was like, hey, man, I don't want you to go through the same thing Foster went through. Step on the gas. This is our last fight with Top Rank. He was concerned there, and he didn't listen. The window was there, and he didn't get the stoppage. Now, was it a good fight for Shakur? I thought it was a good fight. I thought it was entertaining in certain spots. He did certain things in there that I was just like, wow, like, I've never seen a fighter stay as close as he is and then get away from shots. And then towards the back end of the fight, he started getting hit more. He got away from his jab. He stopped setting up things. So there are some things that Shakur also needs to work on moving forward. But as far as his markability goes, guys, it's going to be hard for him. I don't know where he's going to go from here. I really don't. I don't know if he's going to go with Terrence Crawford, Turkey Al-Sheikh. You know, if he's going to invest in Shakur Stevenson, he wants more money. I get it, but I'm talking about markability, man. If you are not putting people in the seats, man, it's hard to demand as much money as this young man is demanding. $3 million is a lot of money. You don't see a lot of guys making $3 million, man.
I get it. I get that. The sure thing is always better than the unsure thing. You're gonna test the free agent market, and maybe you're not gonna get what you want because you may not be able to harpoon in the big fish, right? But I don't wanna. Here's my problem. We have these conversations. We give the blowhards the excuse they need for their favorite fighter to duck these fights. Well, we've gone through it already with Canelo. You know what I mean? So I'm not doing this again with Gervonta Davis. I'm not gonna go do this again. I'm gonna make it very clear. We're in 2024. In 2023, Gervonta Davis main evented in a pay-per-view against Alex Garcia. Last year, in 2023, okay? We're in 2024. So not long ago, he was main eventing against a guy who couldn't fill up the ProBox arena, let alone a big casino venue, okay? So I don't want to hear that Gervonta Davis isn't going to fight Shakur Stevenson because Shakur Stevenson is not popular enough. He's way more popular than Alex Garcia ever was. All right, so if we don't make this fight, your favorite fighter is ducking. And I rate Gervonta Davis. I think he's a great fighter. But you know what? The best have to fight the best. That's what is demanded in all sports. The best taking on the best. Boxing doesn't do it enough. Right now, that's the fight to make.
Well, there are some options, including perhaps William Zepeda. We'll go over his future and where he might go right after this.
I think I would go the WBO route. Berinchyk. I think that's a great fight. I think it'll be a fan-friendly fight. It'll take William Zepeda to the next level, and then we go after the unifications.
Is it the easiest fight for you to make too?
It might be the easiest fight to make. it wouldn't be the easiest fight for Zepeda, but I think it's the easiest fight to make. But I would love for Zepeda to be world champion when he faces Shakur Stevenson, when he faces all the other guys, all the other champions.
Fights again,
I would, if it was up to me, I would fight him end of this year. I think he went a few rounds. He's clean, didn't get cut. He's back in the gym on Monday, so I think we have a future superstar in our hands.
That, of course, Oscar De La Hoya discussing William Zepeda and his future. Dennis Berinchyk apparently on his radar before a potential showdown with Shakur Stevenson. Jimmy Smith alongside Chris Algieri, Paulie Malignaggi, ESPN boxing analyst Timothy Bradley joining us via Zoom. What do you think of Oscar's plan? Get a big fight with Berinchyk first, then some unification fight. Shakur Stevenson maybe a little bit further down the road. What's your thought on it?
I think it's smart. Get smart. Get that world-class experience. Get a belt under your hands, and then not only I say it all the time. Belts help with making money, and it gives you negotiating power. So you get that belt if you're able to get that lock down that Berinchyk fight, which is not going to be easy because Top Rank has that belt. You know they have the Berinchyk. They're gonna what I would think is they're gonna push Keyshawn Davis towards that fight. Now they don't longer have Shakur, so they're gonna try and get Keyshawn Davis a world title. So he fights that Berinchyk fight. I would favor Keyshawn in that fight. I think most people would. And then, so getting a Zepeda fight with Berinchyk is going to be tough. Oscar's going to have to really put on his promoting hat for that one and work with Bob. He's going to have to work with the Bob father to figure that one out. I'm not sure how realistic that is. But in terms of the idea of getting a title before looking to fight the mega guys in the division, the Gervonta Davises, the Shakur Stevensons, very, very smart move on Oscar's point. And listen, I was really impressed with Zepeda. Listen, that guy is a two-fisted destroyer. He fights like he's shot out of a cannon. And the kid that he beat Cabrera's a tough guy. He went
Giovanni Cabrera, very, very tough.
He went 12 rounds with Isaac Cruz, who's a hell of a puncher. So very, very impressive performance, very impressive outing from Zepeda. How does he match up with all these guys? I've been saying it for months. I want to see him with all those guys. I don't know if he beats everybody, but more and more, it looks like he beats everyone below the suboptimal level. So.
Yeah. Tim, heard you jumping in about this subject. What are your thoughts on Zepeda, his future, the Berinchyk fight? What are your thoughts on it?
This air is soft as hell. After listening to Oscar say that, talk about, oh, he going to wait before fighting Shakur Stevenson and all that stuff. Man, when I fought for the world championship, I never fought outside of California, and I fight the #2 champion in the world. He's #2. Ricky Hatton was #1.
Yep.
And you had Junior Witter #2. Well, Hatton didn't want to fight Witter, but I ended up fighting Witter, Junior Witter, a bad man, right? I didn't wait. What's all this waiting for? You either ready or you're not. He's want to take the easier route and think that he can beat Berinchyk. Berinchyk is a tough guy to beat. You had Navarrete who struggled against him. And Navarrete's a bad man that likes to come forward, that throws a 1,000 punches around at the end of the day. So I don't like it, man. Shakur is a guy that's just looking to face anybody he can and get step foot in the ring. I'm hearing people saying that this kid Zepeda can beat Shakur Stevenson. I'm hearing people say that Tank can beat Shakur Stevenson. Well, damn, get in the ring with this young man. Show us that you can beat him. And everybody's saying, yes, he's boring. I get it. He's boring. If he's boring, then have your favorite fighter, like Paulie said, go in there and beat him and dominate him. But I'm telling you right now, folks, the fighters, they see exactly what we see. Now, they're going to hide behind y'all comments and what y'all say, but they know that Shakur is a difficult opponent to face no matter what. Power or no power. He's difficult because he's extremely hard to hit. He's so damn cerebral and so technical. And we've seen him perform at his absolute best when he fought against top fighters. When he fought against Oscar Valdez. I mean, they were spectacular performances. So if Shakur gets in the ring with Zepeda or gets in the ring with a Tank or any of these other top guys out there, he's going to perform. And he's going to make all these guys look silly. And that's what these promoters do not want.
So, Paulie, we talk about this all the time. Kind of the anti-sweet spot of combat sports is really good, but avoidable. Is Shakur Stevenson in that category of, as Timothy says, everybody's going to be going around him as long as they possibly can? What do you see as his next move?
I don't know, man. Again, you got to try to harpoon in those big fish. I I reckon I agree with Champ Tim about, you know, Zepeda kind of trying to tiptoe around here. First of all, if I touch on that point for a second, Oscar said all the right things in some ways as a promoter, but really this game, when we're talking about what you do outside the ring, it's like it's like not so much chess, or it can be like chess. It's like Texas Hold'em, really. Your chip stack dictates how many power moves you're able to make, and you can bluff more and you can do whatever more because your chip stack is bigger. Well, Top Rank's chip stack is much bigger than Oscar's chip stack, you know. So therefore they have the champions. They can maneuver things the way they want to. Oscar can want to fight Berinchyk with Zepeda, but like Tim said, you know, or like Chris said, I don't know, one of you guys said it's probably going to be Keyshawn Davis that gets the shot at Berinchyk, right? So you know, you can say it all you want, but it's probably going to maneuver in a different way. So Zepeda's title fight, when it does come, it's going to come on the champion's terms, on the other promoter's terms. It's not going to come on Golden Boy's terms and on Zepeda's terms, because they don't have the chip stack necessary to make that power move. They don't have any belts in that stable. Promoters, just to give everybody an idea of how it works with promoters, not so much fighters, promoters just want to bring the belt to the stable. They are happy when their fighter wins the belt, but as soon as that fighter wins the belt, they're already plotting how they can move that belt within their stable to a guy who they can maximize earnings with better with a belt. So the guy who brings the belt to the stable, they'll be happy for him. If he's the guy who can maximize earnings, they'll want him to keep that. If he's not the guy who can maximize earnings, then they will look to shift that belt over to somebody that they've invested in or within their stable as well, that they can maximize more earning power. And I see that's kind of how Berinchyk is kind of going to be moved. Berinchyk is, you know, he's not the most popular guy. He's, you know, he's kind of a fun guy to watch, but Keyshawn Davis is the guy that Top Rank is behind. I feel like they're going to get him that title, and they're going to want him to take out Berinchyk. When it comes to Zepeda, he's Golden Boy's darling. You know, he's a guy that Golden Boy's going to want to have that title. They're going to want to maneuver him into a title fight. But the problem is Top Rank has the belts, and Gervonta Davis has one of the belts. So you're going to have to hope that somebody takes a chance on you, because obviously, as we learned in Canelo's situation, mandatories no longer get enforced anymore. You know, so
not a big deal at all.
How Zepeda's going to get this title fight with one of these champions? He's a mandatory in all the sanctioning bodies, but I don't know. Today they enforce, tomorrow they don't enforce. So I don't know how he's going to get the title fight that easily as Oscar is talking about, you know, because he is a dangerous guy, and he's a difficult guy to deal with, Zepeda.
Chris, real quickly before we go to break, one thing about Zepeda is he's willing to travel to Ukraine to take on Berinchyk, to take on Lomachenko. Is just showing a willingness. I mean, obviously the logistics of going to Ukraine at the moment, almost impossible, but that willingness. I'll fly to a war-torn country to get the fight I want. A little bit of showmanship there?
He's got no choice. Exactly what Paulie said about the chip stack. He's got no choice. For him to get any one of these fights, he's going to have to take super short money, fight in their living room to get these, and have every short end of the stick that's possible to get that. Because Golden Boy doesn't have these titles. There's no reason for these other promoters to give their guy a shot, especially because Zepeda's good. He's tough. Why are you going to give him a title? I mean, yeah, when De La Hoya says, yeah, we want the Berinchyk fight. Yeah, so does every lightweight in the world. That's the guy you want to fight. He's the easiest.
He got a choice. He got a choice. He got a choice, Chris. He got a choice. He turned it down. He had a chance at the world championship. He turned it down against Shakur Stevenson. He had a choice.
Well, he could have fought. If he wants to be champion, he's going to have to do that. I didn't say he could have had a choice to fight him, but he didn't want to fight him. Now to fight this guy, he's going to have
Shakur is a champion. Shakur is a champion,
but he decided not to be a champion.
When a guy wants to be the champion, Shakur isn't the guy that's going to make them the champion.
Yes, right. That's exactly the point.
You're just going to take an L.
That's not the choice. Right?
I know, Tim. My frustration is, I'm the same as you, Tim. I'm the same frustrated. I get it.
Hey, listen to me. Not according to the fans. Not according to the fans.
Like you said, the boxers know.
You're right, Tim. The boxers do know. Shakur Stevenson right now looking absolutely outstanding in that boxing category. But when it comes to outrage, when it comes to fans being upset, that's right, a robbery in boxing, yet again, we'll break it down. That's right, another controversy right after this. Welcome back to ProBox TV's Deep Waters, where I gotta say it, we love controversy. We got a lot of that. That's right. Robson, Conceicao fighter from Brazil, a decision victory that almost no one believes he deserved against Oshaki Foster. We can keep talking about Jimmy Smith, Chris Algieri in studio, of course, Paulie Malignaggi, ESPN analyst, Tim Bradley joining us via Zoom. Gentlemen, quick thoughts. Anything changed over time? Of course, Top Rank saying we'll see about a rematch that everyone believes should happen. Chris, we talked about it. When they say don't believe what your eyes are seeing, the stats back up Oshaki Foster winning this fight. The fans, what we saw with our eyes, back up him winning this fight, and yet the judges see it the other way.
I don't need stats. Yeah. I don't need objective. I saw it. I watched the fight. I watched it live, and I'm texting with my nephew. He's like, man, Oshaki, he's shutting this guy out. Watching that man with tears in his eyes saying that I thought I shut him out. I thought I won this fight hands down. I thought I won every round. And he said, you know, people have been complaining because my fights are too close and they're too exciting. I want to show people I can move and I can box. I guess I didn't do enough for the judges. With tears in his eyes because his belt was taken from him. Man, my heart still bleeds over watching that man lose that belt the way that he did. And I thought he put on a great performance. I mean, he moved great. He was a great judge of distance. He looked powerful. He looked strong. His conditioning was great. He didn't let the fight get close with the guy who's very, very good. I actually thought Robson Conceicao was going to win the fight. Yep. And the way Oshaki fought, I was super impressed with his performance. And for him to walk away without that belt tears my heart out of my chest.
Paulie, we overused the term robbery. I think it applies in this one. What do you think?
Yeah, it was shady, man. It was shady. And it's also shady if they don't make the rematch. I don't know. I don't know if Top Rank doesn't. Does Top Rank was Oshaki with Top Rank, or do they only have options on him?
I think just Robson, probably because he beat Ray Vargas a couple
yeah,
fights ago.
That's the thing right there. You know, I
he's
think
with
that's
Top Rank.
That's where
he's
you
with
look
Top
at
Rank.
Yes, he's with Top Rank.
He's got a contract with Top Rank.
Yes, he's with contract.
Did he deny an extension or something?
No.
I mean, dude, you got to start looking into these things when.
Yeah.
when
it's a fair question, Paulie. Yeah.
No, this is where you gotta start looking under the table when you start seeing these kind of decisions, because these are extreme decisions. There's bad decisions and then there's horrible decisions. This was a horrible decision. This is one, and I remember at the end of my career, I came back for a bare knuckle fight and I got robbed in that fight and I broke my hand in the fight and I had to make it closer than it was, and I felt like I outboxed the guy and I got robbed after, despite outboxing him one-handed. I was very much superior, I felt like. But I remember getting robbed, and I said, you know what, I could come back for a rematch. I just got to cut this out. You know, I just got to cut this. I got bad hands anyway. I got to cut this out. And one of the reasons, and I'm not advocating for violence here, guys, okay? So I didn't want to put this out, but I always speak my mind. One of the reasons I said I got to stop fighting is also because if I go through one more robbery, I'm going to hospitalize one of these judges, and I'm going to catch an attempted murder case on me. Like because I'm telling you, they get on my nerves when they do things like this. And when you've gone through it enough times, you have no nerves left to get on. And I'm going to wind up splitting your head with something in the corner or something, you know what I mean? And it's going to get really bad. And I'd rather not. And I don't care if male judge, female judge, at that point, it's going to get bad. And I just said, I just don't need to do this anymore. I can't risk being in a situation like this again. And I think that's, you know, and watching it, you start to feel that way because especially if you've been through it and then you see other guys go through it and you see it never get solved. And it's like, man, it's like, he hasn't reached that point yet where you're going to kick a judge in his face from the ring. You know what I mean? Like when their heads are right there under the rope, you could literally soccer punt. You could soccer punt their heads right from where they are. You know what I mean?
I'm giving guys ideas, Paulie.
So, no, what I'm saying is, I'm just saying, I'm not advocating for violence, but their head is in a good position to soccer punt or to NFL kickoff it, you know? So, but because I'm saying, bro, it's what they do they ruin lives. You could see the pain in this guy's face. They ruin lives. People that come to boxing are not normal people to begin with. They need all the help they can get, and they're helping themselves by fighting for a living. And then to do this to somebody who is still on the verge of that other life where he's trying to get out of and still making a better life. And all of a sudden you just sweep out the rug from under them and say, no, you're not going to go for this better life. It's all, you know, no. You're going to stay in this life that you're trying to escape. It's It's infuriating, bro. It's infuriating.
The injustice of it, Paulie, is what you're the absolute injustice of it, and that's why we all get furious because we know what it's like to go through what you have to go through to win a fight. Now, on social media, of course, there have been reactions from everyone under the sun, and it seems unified that everyone believes it was a bad decision. This is one of those that everyone agrees with. And here's O'Shaquie Foster, dirty game. One of the easiest fights in my life. Will be doing everything possible to make this right. But I will tell y'all that this is the rematch. He's not making it to 12. Promise you that. Tim, is there maybe a silver lining here that the rematch could happen and that he could get justice? Are we clinging on to that, Tim? Because the injustice is what everybody's focused on right now.
Yeah, well, they're going to try to get it overturned, but I would tell them I don't think they will get it overturned. I think they should, him and his people, his management team should fight for the rematch. I mean, Conceicao is with Top Rank, Shock is with Top Rank. You know, fight for the rematch and, you know, and settle it there. But as far as, you know, I'm just going to go off of what Paulie was saying. Yeah, he's right. I felt like that. I mean, no one saw it, but I took my headset off and I went up to the commission table and I started screaming at him and saying that this is a travesty. Like, I went crazy, man, and they had to bring me back to life because I was 0 to 100, man, 0 to 100. I was ready to fight. It was so disrespectful, and to see the tears in that kid's eyes and understand, like, my gosh, I did everything right. I boxed beautifully. This was the easiest fight of my career. I was even saying it on air, like, this was easy. Like, the great ones make it look this simple. Like, I thought that Conceicao was going to have something for him, and he didn't. And, you know, and all those punches that Conceicao was throwing, they weren't landing. But the judges were scoring those fights as scoring blows. And that's where the inexperienced judges come in at. These judges, they weren't experienced judges at all. You know, I got to go back and actually got to see who the judges are and see their experience. However, they won't be reprimanded. And that's the problem that I have. You know, they will not be reprimanded. They'll be at the next fight judging and ruining somebody else's life, you know, a month from now, which is damn terrible. And it's sad to see, but this is boxing. I hope he can get the rematch. But we shall see, man.
About those judges, sorry, real quick, Jimmy. Joe Tessitore on air with you, Tim, you know, that night, he said right before the judges, when they announced the judges' scorecards, he said, you know, these three judges, he named them. He's like, these guys don't have a lot of experience in terms of high-level, championship-level fights, not the kind you would see for a championship-level fight. And then those scorecards came out. Tim, I thought Conceicao was going to do something. He looked amateurish, falling over his front foot, missing by a mile. I don't know how they're looking at it. He made him look so bad. He's a good fighter. He made him look so bad.
But he's old, and he looked old.
He looked 30. He looked all of 35. Absolutely.
Well, we know boxing, we know injustice when we see it, and we will be there for the next controversy. That's right here on ProBox TV. We'll see you at the next Deep Waters. Enjoy the fights until then.